Hello and welcome to this SunSport Rangers transfer special. A manic deadline day across the Scottish Premiership, particularly here in Glasgow. You've got myself, Ryan Rowe, and David Friel alongside me reacting to Rangers made us wait till the very last moment, and then props to the media team at Ibrox for their traitors.
Yeah.
That's probably why it took so long, because they had to film this massive...
Can I make a confession? I've never watched the trailers.
So I'd never...
So see when I was watching, everybody's saying, I'm like, I've got no idea. Like, I'm sure it's amazing, but I've got no idea what you're talking about.
I hadn't seen it until this season, so I've still not seen the celebrity. Yeah. In fact, hold on a minute, I've got a transfer video to do here, sorry. So let's recap. Ryan Naderi was obviously the big headline, deadline day signing, but Rangers have signed in January Tochi Chukwuani, Tuur, Rommens, Andreas, Skov, Olsen, and yes, Ryan Naderi. Lots of players going out. It seems a distant memory that Oscar Cortez, finally left Rangers. Lyle Cameron joining Aberdeen on loan. Kieran Dowell, Finlay Curtis, Joe Rothwell, Clinton Enciala, all confirmed as going. Danilo we're still waiting on, and Rabbi Matondo's situation we kind of both expect to get them cleared up. But let's go to Ryan Naderi first of all. Will he, won't he? It was probably the saga of the window in the end.
The German word for saga.
Exactly. What is the German word for saga? What do you make of that signing, and indeed the fee that Rangers have forked out for him in the end?
I mean, I think you need to give credit to the Rangers board, Andrew Kavanagh, for just not giving up in that one and just pushing the ball out to get him. Look, he's playing at a lower level in German football, so he Hansa Rostock, and it's going to be a step up for him, but by all accounts he is very, very highly rated. Danny Rohl clearly knows him well, knows of his potential. He's talking about him, how he'd been compared to Freddie Bobic and guys like that. He was clearly the number one target for that position, and for a long time it looked as if Rangers would get him, then wouldn't get him, as you said. Then he was going to sign, but with a view to go in the summer, and then Rangers clearly made Hansa Rostock an offer they just basically couldn't turn down yesterday, and they got the deal done. Rangers had looked in at various loan options. Obviously, there was talk of Cameron Archer, other ones as well. But I think when they weighed it all up, they probably looked and thought, well, if you're paying a loan fee, you're paying wages, all that sort of stuff, do you just go that little bit extra to get Naderi in now? Hansa Rostock obviously have their ambitions this season, but they had a price that they would have done business at, and Rangers met it in the end. And they're back to manager, just like they're back to him through the entire window, but it was clear Rangers needed a striker in. We could all see that over the last couple of weeks, at Easter Road especially, on Sunday, and I think Danny Rohl has been given the tools to go and make as big a title push as he possibly can.
So Naderi, 8 goals and 5 assists in the third tier of German football this season. It does seem, if we think about the strikers that Rangers have, if Chermiti is someone who runs the channels and does a lot of good work outside the box, but where he could make his money in between those posts does seem to be where he falls down. Majowski was somewhat of an off-the-shoulder player at Aberdeen, but obviously teams play a different line against Rangers. He looks a little bit lost. Naderi, again, we've not seen much of him, and YouTube can make someone look brilliant. Does a lot of good work in between the posts, but isn't afraid to go and link the play. It'll be interesting to see how Danny Rohl rotates those three.
Yeah, because you then,
Chris Boyd was obviously saying he wants Rangers to play with 2 strikers.
Yeah, he does.
Could this open that up?
Yeah, maybe, potentially. You could maybe see Chermiti and Naderi play together. I do wonder where this leaves Bojan Majowski, because as you say, it's probably not really worked for him. You're now beginning to think, does he suit the Danny Rohl style, as opposed to obviously he was signed by Russell Martin before. But I do wonder if that's something that Danny Rohl might look at. He has obviously changed his formation quite a lot. He's sometimes a 3, sometimes a 5, depending, then 4 and all that sort of stuff. It gives him that option. I think he just had to get someone in there who's more of a penalty box player. I think Chermiti has attributes, clear attributes. As Chris Boyd was saying the other day, though, there is a lot of running down channels. There's a lot of trying to link up, all that sort of stuff. He needs to stay in the box. you can't be a Rangers striker and only get 8-9 goals in the season, which is kind of, if you look at his first half of the season, he's maybe on course for. You need to be hitting at least 15-20 goals. So I think Naderi is going to come in and play a different role. He's going to be asked to play a different role. He's going to be asked to be that focal point but stay central as much as he possibly can. And look, it gives Rangers again another option in attack. I think Danny Rohl, while talking about the old Freddie Bobic comparisons, all that sort of stuff, will be very careful that too much pressure isn't put on his shoulders, because, as I said, this is a huge step up. This is a massive move in his career, a huge step up. There would been a lot of interest. Spoke to a couple of guys in Germany about him, saying that he's very, very good. But this environment can swallow you up. You have to give the guy time to come in. And I'm sure Danny Rohl will do that. I'm sure he will try and blood him in as much as he can. But it was just imperative, Ryan, I felt, at the end of the window. And the longer this was going on, you're thinking, is it going to happen? I thought Rangers would have been leaving themselves short if they hadn't signed a striker, but they got it done.
Yeah, there was sort of that backup option, as you mentioned, with Cameron Archer. Would you say that despite the fact that Rangers have effectively paid an extra £1 million to bring in Ryan Naderi now, it looks a lot of money for someone to arrive 6 months earlier, but could it be the difference in the title race? Someone like Cameron Archer, who was probably never going to stay at Rangers either.
Yeah, it could be, and that's and sometimes, we're doing a series of transfer review shows and we speak about, do you pay the premium, do you go that bit extra? Rangers have decided to do that. Because this title is so important to them. Andrew Kavanagh has spoken about the mistakes that were made in the summer, the mistakes that were made by Russell Martin, and how he wanted to own it and rectify it. And he's putting his money in there to do it. He has, Rangers, what we're talking, we'll go on to the other ones, but Rangers have spent close to £13 million in this window alone, having spent, what was it, Kevin Thelwell said the net spend was 30 or 40 in the summer, or 20, I can't remember, it's Kevin Thelwell, Russell Martin.
I think they've spent the guts of 50 million this season.
And you've also, if you take up the Skov Olsen deal, it's another 9. So I think Rangers just felt that they had to go that extra bit, and you need to pay a premium. You get somebody's best player, you need to pay that premium. Rangers decide to do it.
Yep, that premium, and again, we've not seen Naderi in the flesh, but 4.75 million may have tempted Motherwell into selling to Wandamas, would you say?
But would it?
Do you think it would have? Do you think if...
I honestly don't.
Really? No?
I don't. I would have said that a couple of weeks ago, but speaking, do a lot of Motherwell games in the last couple of weeks.
And you're going there today. You can ask the question, I suppose.
Ask the question, but I don't think they would. Honestly, because Jens Bertalascu was always, and again, I think Rangers should have gone for Maswinisi harder. I think Celtic should have as well. I think he's a one who will blossom and go on to do good things in his career. But Motherwell, fan-owned club, were in no need to sell, no stress to sell. That was the word Jens Bertalascu kept using. We're under no stress. He's going to stay. I think the player was content enough with that. He wasn't going to agitate for the move. And I think it would have taken a lot more than 4.75 to get him.
So, looking at some of the players who came in earlier in the window, Danny Rohl said he was quite clear in wanting that number 6, a bit of an enforcer. Chukwuani's come in. He certainly looks like quite a powerful player early on, but we've not seen too much yet. Rommens we've seen nothing of because he was working his way up to full fitness. Skov Olsen certainly seems as though he needs a little bit of time to get up to speed.
He's time and he's patience. People need to just be patient with him. I think because he's coming with such a pedigree, he goes onto the pitch and everybody expects him to be doing back heels and flicks and like that. He's a very good player. He's hardly played, so he needs time to get up to speed. I agree with Chukwuani. Was it a surprise he started at Easter Road potentially because of the kind of nature of the game? But I think he'll give Rangers height, presence, all that sort of stuff. And I actually think Rommens will be a really good signing for Rangers. Just everything you hear about him, and what it'll also do, his arrival will be able to give Jayden Magoma a rest, because that boy has played so much football this season. For someone who's coming from down south on loan, hadn't played that much. He had that kind of stint at Preston where he played a bit more. Was it last season? But he's just playing game after game after game. So I think he will share duties with Rommens coming in. And that was areas I think Rangers looked at they needed to strengthen. So I think if you'd have said to Danny Rohl at the start of the window, you're going to get the left back, the midfielder, the sort of kind of creative force and a striker. job's done.
So is there a position that you're surprised Rangers didn't strengthen? Perhaps maybe centre-back?
Potentially, but only maybe because of the situation with you have loan players there, and you've got others going
Derek
on
Neely's
contract, Derek
injured.
Neely's. But I do think, given that Tavernier's potentially played as one of the three, you've got Suter, you've got Nasser Giga, Manny Fernandes, who I really like as a player. I think he'll go into big things as well. Cornelius will be back. It's not long term, he will be back. So yeah, it was probably an area where Danny Rohl, in an ideal world, maybe I've added one. And it's going to be an issue for Rangers in the summer. Clearly, they're going to have to think about that. But look, priorities were elsewhere, and they managed to get them.
Yep. So let's look ahead to the summer then, because I'd imagine there may well be fans in the comment section wondering about funds. Andrew Kavanagh has clearly backed Danny Rohl, but at some point, some of Rangers' assets or some of the players that, despite they had a very good job of getting players out of the building this window, come the summer, Asgard questions may be asked. Antman, it hasn't worked for him so far, £4 million. And at what point does a sizable offer for Nicholas Raskin come in as well? Do you expect some movement 6 months down the line for some of them?
I mean, potentially, but I mean, these guys, Raskin, I would leave Raskin aside in terms of Raskin's at a stage where everybody, it maybe went last summer. Obviously, the issue with Russell Martin. Raskin, I think, is coming back into a bit of form. But it's a big few months for him in terms of can he go and help Rangers win the title. I'd say the same for the other two as well. I mean, Antman, I think he's on the periphery. I'm not sure he's going to come off the periphery, to be perfectly honest with you, because you've got Skov Olsen there, Mikey Moore there, Gassama there. They're clearly going to be regulars, you would imagine.
Even Bayrami's been getting on ahead of
and
him.
we also speak about could Chermiti and Naderi play together, all that sort of stuff. But these guys have a few months upcoming that can shape their entire Rangers careers if they can help Rangers win this league. Such a big league, such a tight league, and it's all there for them. They need to go and embrace it. They've got a Scottish Cup to play for as well. They need to show that they are capable of being main players for Rangers, key players for Rangers, in a title-winning team and a trophy-winning team. And it's all there for them. And listen, we're always quick in this country to say, oh, he's not good enough, all that sort of stuff. But, it's Hearts have obviously got the advantage, but Rangers are in level with Celtic in points, 14 games to go. It's up to them to show that they are capable of really taking Rangers on.
In terms of the players that left the building, Kieran Dowell and Joe Rothwell certainly had no first-team future at Rangers. Danilo had been there or thereabouts. He is all but, if not by the time this is released, due to be announced by NEC Nijmegen. Finlay Curtis, you could argue, Rangers maybe missed him a little bit on Sunday, Easter Road, but is the best thing for his development going to...
Yeah, I think we spoke about it in previous kind of transfer shows where it was that balancing act. I like him. I think he would have played minutes. But was he going to play enough?
Yeah, and if he's going to be the player that Rangers want him to be, playing 7 games between now and the end of the season wouldn't get him to that stage.
He'd come off the bench, and I get it. There's a lot of Rangers fans out there who feel they should have kept a hold of him. And I can understand why, because every time when you watch him, he does something. He's one of these players, and I know that sounds dead basic, but I'm a big fan of attackers that get a shot away or get a goal or get an assist, because there's so many out there that just
turn and pass back.
But I think for his long-term future, which I think will be at Rangers, he needs to go and play, and he's going to go and work under coaches, Neil McCann and Billy Dodds that he knows. He's going to start for Kilmarnock every single week, you would imagine. I'd be amazed if he didn't. So between now and the end of the season, he's going to get 14, 15 games and really kick on and come back to Rangers a more mature player and a better player. So I think that was just the balance of that. I can kind of understand it, although I wouldn't have been against keeping him. So fans, let us know what you think in the comments, not just on Finlay Curtis, but of Rangers' general business on the whole of January, and then obviously yesterday, deadline day, Ryan Naderi coming in, what it means for the title race and who you think will be the best signing of the window. Again, early days, who do you like the look of so far, or whose profile do you like the look of so far? Who will be... Skov Olsen will be the Rangers' best signing. He just will be. He will be... I just don't get that it was funny seeing the reaction after the Hibs game, and it's like, give the guy a chance just to get back into a rhythm and find his feet. Rangers didn't just sign him for one game. They've signed him for the title run and I would imagine hopefully years to come. So he will be, I think, a very good signing. I think he'll get up to speed. He will give Rangers something extra in that final third, and I think you'll very quickly see, it wouldn't surprise me if it's against Command like at Ibrox. I think you'll very quickly see why he's so highly rated, why he's played at such a high level. To me, it's probably the signing of the window around Scotland.
Does that propel Rangers to a first Premiership title since 2021? Have they done enough?
I don't think they could have done any more in the transfer window. I think you can't just keep spending money and keep throwing it. I think they have they've given Danny Rohl as much backing as they possibly could. Andrew Cavan, I say the only thing, you need to take a hat off to them for what they've done. I've just got a feeling Rangers will come up slightly short, and I'm only basing that on they still have that performance at Easter Road in them, and I think there's going to be a lot of onus, and I spoke earlier about how Ryan Naderi can't be the saviour, or sorry, shouldn't be, he's the main man, go and expect all this from him, but I think they're going to have to get him hit the ground running. I just wonder whether Rangers might just miss out. I think it's going to be so tight. We'll speak about, obviously we're doing other videos as well, and the same questions asked. I just wonder, push comes to shove, especially having to go to Parkhead and Tynecastle after the split, whether Rangers might just miss out on the title.
So let us know what you make of that. And as we said, there are other transfer roundups on SunSport's YouTube channel. The blog will be running as well for all the reaction. As we say, we've got 9 press conferences across the Premiership today, so managers reacting to the business that's been done or what was missed out on. And pick up a copy of the paper tomorrow as well for all the reaction. And you'll have the set piece on YouTube as well. Thanks for watching.